Okay, so we're going to go back to the discussion on operations today with the Grande Pacific Railroad and using JMRI as the means to create the manifest in the movement of cars. Okay, so we're back at work today. Senior management decided that since I'm the only engineer around here, they better let me come back to work. So here comes our train into Rockwood, and we have the first 5 cars here have to be spotted. There's a couple things though I need to explain so you understand the concept of operations. This is a point in time on the railroad. It's a day. JMRI, the JMRI system has a fast clock built into it. It's 24 hours. You can run it 4 to 1, 6 to 1, whatever works for you. But this is a day and time, and there's a schedule. This is one of the trains in the schedule. This is a westbound manifest freight. During a normal operating session here, there would be a Rockwood local operator. He would be here to take care of all of this work as far as what you saw me do of gathering up these cars, the 9 cars that are sitting in front of the station there that the train's got to be picked up. That would have been done by the local operator. Also, this freight, train 101, would not have been the first train through here this morning or whenever the time was. Train 80 would have been here first. You get to know what has to happen. Now, train 80 is the grain ethanol train. It comes out of the Golden Yard, and they're probably going to run that train next, so I won't go into the detail how it works. But it would have come first before the manifest freight because its first stop is right here at 8 a.m. And it would have taken this switch right here, going through Rockwood, and been out of the way. The local operator here would have pull the cars because he would have had the let's see what they call it. Now I'm going to draw a blank here. He would have had the sheet for every train that was coming through here for Rockwood. He would have a sheet for 80, a 101. Even though 80 doesn't stop here, he would have noted on his printout that switch list. There's a switch list for Rockwood. It would have noted on the switch list that train 80 would come through at such and such a time. Then it'd be followed by train 101, which is the one we're working. And then he would have also had local switching to do with cars. Now, I'm going to tell you, if we're going to run this thing as a whole operating session, I would have punched up and built the locals for each one of the towns before I built the manifest freights. This whole thing works on cars available. Once a car is taken for use in a train, it's not available again until one or two things happen. Mainly the train has to be completed, and then the terminate button is hit, and then the car becomes available to use again. There's another way to do it. You can move the train along, but generally speaking, we have enough cars on this railroad and everything. I can keep everybody busy moving stuff around. As I said earlier, we usually move about 85% of all the cars on the railroad during a normal operating session. So this is kind of a slice of the pie. Somebody else would have pulled those cars and had them sitting in front of the station, who mainly was the Rockwood operator. He would have been the guy running the local switcher, okay? And now the train comes through, and this is the way, when this train arrives, he would see it. His cars are there. Now we have to set out the first 5 cars. Now, you can look and see where they go on the manifest. Gotta see. It's the SB wood flat car goes to track 1. The WPLX Western Pacific car goes to track 1. And the other 3 cars go over there to track 3. So we'll use the road engines to basically split up these cars and send them out to the thing, and then we'll start getting into blocking the cars into the train that we have to pick up. So well, let's get started on that. So we pull the train forward here. The first car we have to put on track 1 is the flat car here. Well, get flat car, select accessory, 284. So again, I'm throwing switches through an NCE system. All these switches have decoders on them. That's why you see me using the hand controller to throw them. Okay, so we're going to leave this car here. Now, you know, this is the typical thing. I guess you could have, when you were blocking the cars out, looked down at apex and seen that the 2 cars had to go on the track 1 and made sure they were together. A crew in the railroad would have done that. I didn't. I just got the 5 cars for Rockridge together and didn't put the cars going to the various tracks together. So that's why we're having to do this. Now, generally speaking, we use a pick stick, but like I said before, it's tough to do pick stick, hold the camera, and run the train. Again, the problems with having to put up with what's going on right now. Okay. Last number recall on the switch. All I have to do is hit the button again and it throws it. Okay, so we're putting the 2 cars on track 1. Now, these cars are in a yard track. So if I go into the computer and hit the local, run the local button, guess what? Those cars right there, probably all 6 of them, 7 of them will move. They'll be used in an industry and so forth, because only cars in on these yard tracks and the one over here, the only cars that end up there are ones that can be used in this location. Oops, we hit the wrong button. Okay. So last number recall, we're back train up. Now, we have 3 cars left, and this is relatively simple. We're going to take them down here and push them down this track over here and leave it to the switcher to take care of them. And then we'll start blocking in the cars. So we'll unhook here. And clear switch 282, select accessory 282, enter 2, then hit select accessory 283, enter 2, and we hit the reverse of the train. Okay. And we're going to leave these 3 cars right here. and we'll let the local take care of putting them back on track 3. Now I can take these big heavy road units and run them back there on that track that doesn't support them. Don't want to put our road units on the ground. Okay, sounds good, right? Okay, so now we close that switch. So now we're ready to come back here, and we're going to have to figure out where these cars go in the train. And let's go back over here to our manifest. So is this going to tell us the trains we picked up? The first car up there is that Hopper Coal, and it's going to Junction Industrial Yard. That means it's got to be at the very end of the train. In the case here, it needs to go back here between this car and this car. The last car in the train is a Fred. So that's a caboose. You know, I have a bunch of cars with Freds on them. So in that case, you treat it as a caboose. So we have to pull the train up and put the car in between here. So this is it gets to be a step-by-step move, but if you don't do this now, you're going to end up having to do it later. It's do it now, do it now, or do me later. You're going to do it to make the moves to get the train right. When we get to the end, and I'll show it to you at the end, to put the train up, if it says Junction Industrial Yard, you need to have it at the end of the train because it's going into a yard track. And it saves you a lot of moves if you have all those cars together. So we're going to back the train up here. Now what we'll do is we'll go get our train. And we'll move the train because we have plenty of room going forward to pull the train up around this switch. We have a lot of room in front of us. 282, enter 1. So we'll go get our train. And this is a process of just working through the cars. Yeah, you could sort the cars out into various groups. The ones going to Silverville somewhere, but you got to sort them one way or the other. So yeah, these are kind of personal things on how you want to do them. There's 9 cars there. Some of them go to some places out. Go to more than one of them go to someplace else. So you could do some sorting on your own before you got to doing this, whichever way. But we're going to make the first move. We'll leave the Fred car here, and we'll pull the train up. Now, I want that hopper at the end of the train. So we go select accessory. So as you can see, as we progress on here with this, and this is getting exaggerated because I'm working it, and thinking about other things and not thinking about running the train to try to make sense out of all this. So if I was by myself, we would have been through here and gone, believe me. Now, got to look at the next car. You got to think ahead here. So it's the SP Hopper car. That's the last one. It goes in the train back to Junction. So actually, it needs to be in front of the Hopper car. So that's what I was saying. If you kind of looked at that before you went into this, then you could get around some of these moves. So we just have to remember what we're doing here and get this done in the right order. So what we'll do is we'll leave the Hopper car here, and I'm only going to do a couple of these and then we'll stop and move on. I'll finish it, but and we'll back up. We'll leave. We need to have this car on the end of the train when we get to the end. to the division point, because some of these cars are going into the yard. They're not going on to points west. Remember, this is a westbound train, so we get to junction, we're gonna leave some cars in the yard, and then the train will leave and go on west. At least in the make-believe part of this railroad, it will. It becomes another spotted car. So now, the SP car is going somewhere else in the operation. So now you have the last car going back into track 2 as going on is the SP gondola. So we want to look at the FOB boxcar now. Bring the thing down here. And it says FOB boxcar is going to Toland Yard 2. Now, Toland, that SP boxcar 92 is going to Toland, so the hopper's in between where it needs to be. So I'm going to make one more move, drop the hopper over here in front of the gondola, and then put the FOB boxcar right in front of the SP car, so it'll be in the right place. And this is a game you can play whichever way you like to, okay? A lot of the operators will just dig the cars out as they go. Like I said, it's pay me now, pay me later. One way or the other, you're going to have to make the move. It can be now or it can be later. It's your choice. We're just doing this the way the railroad would do it. They would have it in the right order. So, okay. So, the hoppers and thing. Now, the hopper's the last car that goes into the division, we know, on track 2 to go forward, west. It's going further west. Don't know where those steel rolls are going, and we don't care. It's just not going. It's not going anywhere that this train has to stop and fool with it. From here on out. So now we're getting things in order, and you go to the GM&O car next, and you say, where does it go? And the GM&O car goes, and that's NIRX. So it's going to Silverville. The last Silverville car in the train is going to be Tank Kiro. It's Silverville's the next stop. I know. No, well, we actually have to go pick up a couple of cars at the or ADM, but the next stop is with cars in the train is Silverville. We don't have anything to set out at ADM. It's the SP silver boxcar right there. So what we have to do is get the GM&O car behind the SP car. That's the next move. We'll make all these moves, get the train in order. We'll finish this all up, and then we'll go to Silverville. So let me get these moves made, and we'll get back here in a minute. Okay, so we've got our little train all fixed up, and all the cars are in the train in the order which they need to be. Our next stop is Silverville, and I think we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars through the New Orleans Public Bell Car that are going to go to Silverville. So we're going to take off, and we're going to go to Silverville. No, we don't. Oh, I'm sorry. Getting ahead of myself here. That's the next stop. We have to drop off cars. In the meantime, we need to go to the Archie Daniel Middleton elevator radio, which is down the road, say 45 miles or 50 miles. For this world, it's got to make the loop behind the mountain. And this is a little bit of Why certain things are done on railroad, model railroad from experience. First of all, I got to throw switch select accessory 2, 8, 1, enter 2. Right there. Open that switch up, get on the siding here. Because we got to work. I can work it from the main because there's nobody else operating here today. I'm the only engineer. P.S. They can't come drug test me 2 days in a row. No way. It's cocktail time. Jack Daniels and no, Crown Apple. Crown Apple today. No wine, Crown Apple. We're going for the hard stuff. All right. So anyway, we're going to go, and we got to go on a siding. Now, a little bit about construction of a model railroad and why I did things. We used to have the turntables, the roundhouses. I have some steam engines. We play with the steam engines. They aren't used in the operating scheme. This is a 36-inch outside of radius on this turn. It's 36 inches. So it was March 14th a little while ago, you know, pi r squared. This takes 70, I think this is 76 inches out here to make this turn. The old rule, about 30 inches. Everything back up in there, past that wall, there's a hole back there you can stand up and get to the track if you have to go get something that's derailed back there. But there's an access hatch which you can actually go all the way and come up up above too. But that's a lot of space back there which you can't reach. And if you can't reach something and you put a track back there, what's going to happen? The train's going to come off back there, I guarantee it. So we strictly made it a mountain. And the only thing goes back there is these two tracks and a turn. There's no switches back there. In 10 years of running this, I don't think I've ever had a train. Wait a minute, let me knock on wood here. Okay. Never had a train derail back there. All right, we have to go get two cars here, right there. So we're going to pull up here and take our engines and run back there and get the two cars. And then we're going to have to come back and work them into the train where they have to go. We don't have any set outs today. No grain cars on the train, actually. It's a little unusual on this railroad. But we're going to cross over here. And you get a lot of work goes on right here because the grain, all the coal cars and stuff are in this area. And we're going to go back there and get the two cars. And it's got to select accessory 2, 6, 7, enter 2. And somebody left 268 open. Enter 1. Wonder who that somebody was. Don't know. I have no idea. Okay, so we're going to go back here, and you might not run this fast during an operation session, but we're trying to cut down on video time here, so we're going to go fast, okay? It's a little bit fast for normal operations. Okay, oh, wait a minute. Take a break here, got to go do something. Okay, so we're back here at the operation, took care of our private business, and we need to pick up the Grande Pacific car and the KCS Golden West car. All right. Darn it. Grab the car we don't need. Okay. Now, great little switches for this purpose. This is not an electronic switch. These are Picos, manual. They work great. Probably would use them the next time I did a railroad, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. I think I've made it pretty clear. This is, God willing, the creek don't rise too high. This is the last one, okay? we haven't finished all the scenery on this one. So now we have our two cars, and we need to go look, where did the cars go? Well, this is easy. They're both going on to points west. We don't have to fool with these cars again, so they're going to go at almost the end of the train. Second to last car at the end of the train. The last car at the end of the train goes into a yard at junction, so they just need to be in front of that car. Okay, so we'll leave the two cars here. We'll pull the train forward. Before we pull the train forward, we're going to hit select accessory 266 enter 2. We're going to open the cross over to go back out on the main. Also know we're going down here, and this is kind of a thing here. The point being made here is you need to look ahead at where you're going and what you're going to have to, what your next move's going to be. I need to open that switch up because on this railroad, select accessory 265. That's the entrance to the Silverville yard. It's the lead track coming into the Silver yard. There's no two places on this railroad that are the same. Done on purpose, believe me. This yard is different from what you do over at Rockridge, and the yard at Apex is different, and the yard at Tolan is different. And the big yards down below are different. And it's all done, on purpose. Because the railroad didn't really ever have two yards that were the same. So what we're going to do is pull forward, and we're going to go get our train. And we need to get all the way to the last. That's the reason I went and opened up those switches, because our train's long enough. We're going to be into the lead at the Silverville yard by the time we get these two cars in the train. Now, technically the train can go out to 1,300 feet. That's the length of my shortest siding. When it's put away at the end, it goes to 900 feet. And I will explain that at the end. Okay. All right, so we're going to pull up here till we get to the last two cars. And we're going to stop because this car right here ends up in a yard track. And we want that on the end of our train. We'll have more cars back there. Now, you see what I'm talking about? Thinking about what you're doing and where you're going and how things are going to fit. The train's already headed into the siding at Silverville. Now, you would have asked, in this railroad, you would have asked the dispatcher before you pulled out on the main here, if you could do that during an operating session. You would have asked for permission to go to Silverville, and while you were going to Silverville, you would have made this move to finish up the train. So we'll open the switch here, we'll back up, and we'll get our two cars, hopefully, yes. By the way, all cars on this railroad have Katie 5, 14 couplers, 5 or 14, 148s, whiskers, whatever it is. They're 5s. There's one or two cars that have 58s, but lesson we kind of learned in operations, and believe me, this isn't open for discussion. I know Katie will disagree with me, but 58s and 14s and 5s don't mix. The 5 and the 14 is the same coupler, or 148, whatever you want to call it, is the same coupler. as far as the coupler itself. One works with the brass plate, one works with the new wires for springs. The smaller prototype coupler and the bigger coupler do not work together, okay? This, in operations, also gets very hard when you're using pick sticks. Okay, so we want to close 166. I'm sorry, it's 266. Okay, because we don't leave switches open on the main. Now, during an operating session, the dispatcher, in all likelihood, would have closed that switch. You wouldn't have had to fool with it, but we're going to close switches around here. Same thing here. We're in the yard limits for the train, so we're going to close the switch. Okay, so our little train is coming in here on the arrival track. We're not paying attention. And we're going to get it to where we can work the yard. And this is basically the same thing. This train is not going to work industries. It is here to drop off cars, put them in the yard. And this location too would have a local operator, and he would be using one of the switches around here. I'm kind of looking where it is. But anyway, it's around. I'll find one. We can use one. Here it is. Okay, there's 2696. So we're going to get the switcher, and we're going to go look at what we got to do, and we'll be back here. So we've arrived at the Silverville yard. Now, we're off the main. We have, so trains can come and go around us completely. That gets into designing your railroad. You know, that's a pretty long train. Let's see. Now, that's something else. Let me go get the book. Hold. So, if you go down to the bottom, schedule work at New River Mine, we went to ADM, and we picked up 2 cars. Train departs New River Mine, traveling west, 24 cars, 9 loads, 15 empties, 1,252 feet at 1,219 tons, okay? And it left at 3:20 a.m. Okay, well, we were working early this morning, okay. So it says 24 cars. Starting at the end over here, you don't count the last car because that's a caboose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 cars. Gotta check, make sure you're right. Because if you don't check, you're going to get to all the way to the end and you end up short a car, and you're going to say, what? Where's the car? Okay, where did I miss? So check as you go. So we got our cars, and we're going to do this. Me going to take a break, and we'll be back here. So this is our work at Silverville. These are the cars we have to pick up. This time we're going to look here, and we're going to pull them out in the order reverse from the bottom, since when it says junction track 2, that means it's going on. That's a staging track. It's going to be going on west. So we want to pull those 3 cars. Then we want to pull the next 2, which is, we want to pull the next 2 and then the 2 together at the top, because those 2 are going to Apex, and then those 2 are going to Tolan. Tolan would be pulled next because it's the last stop up on the railroad before we get to our division point. And then Apex is next after we get to Silverville. Okay? So we're going to pull the cars from here. We're going to go get a switcher and start pulling the cars. Okay, so we've got our little switcher here. and on this case here, this is track 5. We need, and these are cars that'll be going on west. We need the SP81 box car, and we need the Missouri Pacific 36 pulpwood car. Okay, so here we have magnets. Okay, good, we couple. Got to get past the magnet. All right, so we want to pull the cars out. What I want to do is get the pulpwood car, which is the deepest car in the string. Now there's a stick right there. See the magnet? Oh, I'm sorry, missed it. I was paying attention to something else. Okay, so that don't have to reach in there, pick it or anything. The magnet works great. I have a whole video on this. These are code 100 magnets in code 83 track. I show how to cut the ties and put them in and so forth. So we're going to go over here and throw this switch, ground throw. Hit reverse, forward, the engine's run the other way. Go over here and throw this ground throw. And we're going to set this car out, because we need to get it out of our way for a minute. Okay. Yeah, to get into needing space. So the next thing we want the box car, the SP box car. So we come back here and we throw the switch and we push these two cars in. And again, the use of the magnets makes life a lot simpler. All right. Okay, that's what I call cat's meow. That's the KD system, people. That's what makes it work great. Now, we have a lot of magnets to install on this railroad. So we're going to push this car up here. Oops, a little mismatch there because we were coming on a curve, but that's all right. So we came, that's good. That'll work. We want to get this car back in the yard here. Stop. Throw the switch. Okay. Now, alright. Left those cars there. Stop. Throw the switch. Reverse the engine. We could turn the headlights on. Yeah, make it look tricky. Okay. Some of my MP15s have sound in them, some of them don't. Alright, so we got our two cars. Now, these two cars go at the end of the train, and as per our thing, actually we need to get one more car here. It's on track 1. It's the hopper car right there, wood chip hopper car. So we need to get that car. So what we're going to do is the same thing we did over there. We're going to get the cars together, and then we're going to pull them down here. When we have a runaround track, we're going to have enough room to back the train up and put the cars, which we know run from here to here, are the cars that have to go in the Silverville yard. So we can pull the train up and drop these cars off, and then work these cars as we're going to pull. And before I pull the train up, I'll show you. But I'm going to go get the rest of the cars. We got to get 5 more cars. I'll get those out, and then we'll come back to what we're doing. Now, while this is going on, Or the other job for the operator here, he's got to build the Silverville Apex Industrial Turn. It goes from Silverville here to Apex Industrial on the other side of that wall right there to Apex. Then it comes back and it goes down the, you notice the different color ballast over here. That's the Apex Silverville branch line. Goes through one of those tunnels down there. Okay, he has to build that. He has to run the local, switch cars from the yard to the industries. There's a couple little boxes in the settings you can click if you really want to give somebody a heartache and pain. Swap cars locally. It'll keep somebody busy for hours, because it'll take the cars from there, put them over there, and the cars from there, put them over here. Oh, it's, you know, so there's all kind of things in the settings on this program that will allow you to do things. Just a point of reference, you don't see any car carriers on this railroad. No 80-foot cars. Too many headaches. I even tried running just the run-through auto rack car. Too many headaches. So we don't have car racks on this car, train, railroad. If you notice that as you're seeing all this video. They don't work. Never been to a club, been to somebody's house or private railroad that they worked. Okay, they're always coming off the track. So try to avoid those type of things. It's your railroad, do what you like, but that's just something over the years not had a lot of luck with. Big, long cars don't work real well. All right, so let me go get these cars and we'll be back.